afternoon, folks. I feel like I should tell you what the emergency exits are. I'm going to give you a very, very quick and very, very simple intro to what I call the approach to looking at funding and to achieving funding depending on what you want to do and how to turn it into something useful. So again, have some examples. Just to give you a little bit of background, I'm the Centre Manager for the CAPPA Centre, so that's the Centre for Advanced Photonics Process Analysis. We're based in CIT in Cork. We're part of a very broad network of IoT-based, of institutes of technology-based research groups who are directly funded by Enterprise Ireland to carry out R&D on behalf of or in conjunction with industry. So we have a good base, we have a good background in terms of looking at funding, winning funding, understanding how to use it, and also we've got a very, very broad set of application spaces that we're working as well. So even if, directly one of the groups you talk to can't help you, there's a larger network than more. There's a few stands here today. We are almost just outside the door. There's an Applied Internet of Things stand, which is just on the way in, and there's a material science group up at the back. So I'd encourage you to go and have a look at the stands. Very, very broad range of stuff that they do here. So as I said, our goal is to deliver R&D to industry, but a very, very simple part of that is to also win funding. This is the kind of makeup of our group, and as you can see, there's the usual set of collaborations, published papers, etc. But we started life as a fundamental research body before we ever did anything for industry. And part of the bread and butter of that is learning how to write competitive proposals. And that's something you can actually get good at. That's something you can learn how to do well, and that's something you can do with great efficiency once you're used to it. And in particular, you might have seen some of the statistics for the European funding levels that Ireland achieves. We punch well above our weight in that scheme, and that's because we have two main advantages. One is that we're English speaking, and the other is that as Irish people, we tell a good story. And that might seem a little bit of a flippant remark, but it is quite true. Telling the story is the important thing when it comes to funding. People do spend an awful lot of time worrying about where I'm going to get it or what I'm going to do with it, and that's all very relevant. But that can come afterwards once you've understood what it is you really want to do. And that's the fundamentals of your own story, is understanding what you want to do and how you'd like to achieve it. These are our key goals in the areas that we work in. As I said, we provide R&D, we develop next stage research, we provide access to test equipment, but one very, very important part of that is helping industry to access national and EU funding. And there is a myriad of that funding schemes available. And these all depend on the type of work you'd like to do or how you'd like to develop your company, be it a business development plan, innovation for growth, Horizon 2020. All of those have all their own subtleties, but there's a wide range of help and support you can get in order to be able to deliver that. These are just some of the funding sources that you will know of. The page is not extensive, but it covers some of the main ones that are there. And I think these slides will be available afterwards if people want to have a look at them. Enterprise Ireland, SFI, Department of Agriculture, Europe through Horizon 2020. Intertrade Ireland, maybe not as highly utilised as it could be for cross-border trade. The IDA, which are under the same auspices, if you like, and the same sort of guidelines as Enterprise Ireland. Very, very useful area and group to talk to are the local enterprise offices, particularly if you're a startup or a small-scale SME. Talk to those people locally on the ground. They'll understand your business, they'll understand where you are in the workspace, and they'll be able to guide you to where you need to go. Obviously, venture capital is one way you can go as well, but if it was me, I'd be looking at funding somewhere differently to that, different scales. And obviously, you can direct fund it. But again, all of these are appropriate for their own scale, they're appropriate for their own size. And once you understand what it is you want to do, and that is the key option here, is get it clear in your mind, what do I want to achieve and how can I achieve it? For me, the funding will come quite naturally afterwards. I've never had a conversation with a client about funding. It's absolutely pointless to start talking about funding in the first pass. You must find out if there's something useful that you want to do. Be that just internally in your own behalf, or be it collaboratively, or with another company. That's the key thing. And we don't always have to be involved. We can assist people with writing proposals or looking at funding aspects that are not in our own workspace. So the technology that we use does not have to be applicable in your own space. It's the key element of understanding what's required and how you pitch your story to the funding agencies. Because you have to remember, even though your idea might be really, really good, it might have excellent merit, it might sit beautifully into a certain funding space, it will be not rated, but it will be looked at in the same vein as many other proposals. So you have to make yours stand out. You have to somehow add that little je ne sais quoi, as the French say, that little icing on the top, that somebody's going to look at and go, I like this idea, we should pursue it further, and be able to go with that. And the key to that is making sure that you've written it quite well. Some of the schemes that are available from some of these funding agencies for Enterprise Ireland, things like innovation vouchers and partnerships, technical feasibility studies, funding for growth. Science Foundation Ireland tends to fund a little bit more fundamental research depending on the scale you're at. The DAFM, if you're in food and beverage, or if you're in dairy or agri space. And Europe, obviously Horizon 2020, globally or I would say from an international point of view, is the most important one. And in particular the SME instrument, which is a funding model that Irish companies have been very successful in. And that's essentially something that a company on its own can apply for. Different scales of funding, starting at €50,000 all the way up to, we've had a few companies we've worked recently to help write proposals have gotten between 3 and 4 million. So quite an amount of scale there that you can work on. And as I said, these other funding agencies all have their own model depending on what you want. The do's and don'ts, and I think this is probably the most important slide of what I'm going to mention. And for me, they're quite simple, but I think people often ignore them. You should always be clear on what it is you want to achieve. If you don't have a clear idea of what you want to achieve, you certainly can't get that across in a funding proposal. And it will read like that. You can tell if somebody has cut and pasted or pulled information from different sources and not really thought about how they put it together. It will read like that. And people get experience when they're evaluating proposals that they read like that. Understand the challenges to be addressed. And generally there will always be challenges. That's not to say that you shouldn't include them in the overall scheme, but once you understand what they are and how you can address them, and that might be useful in terms of collaborating with somebody or figuring out, leveraging expertise in another area. Have a sensible business case. Almost all funding nowadays requires you to be able to see beyond the next fence. The funding agency, whoever it is, would want to know, okay, if you do achieve what it is you're trying to achieve, what are you going to do with it? What is the next thing you would like to see? Have a longer term plan. That has to be sensible, it has to be well thought out. And again, that's something that you as your own business driver should know quite well. It's not something that a collaborative partner will do or a funding agency necessarily will do. That can give you the boilerplate stuff, but you need to know niche where your own goals and markets are. Collaborate. And again, that's maybe speaking a little bit from a personal point of view. We've collaborated with many industries. We found it quite successful. It is very, very useful. Don't be afraid to do that. I think there's still maybe a little bit of tentative approach towards collaboration. You'll find many different levels that will suit many different aspects of collaboration. And I would urge you to talk to people. Conversation costs nothing, and people will be very, very willing to talk to you. Collaborate with the people on the ground. Yes, the funding agencies themselves are good to talk to, but there's nothing like talking to the people who can help you write the proposal or do the work or steer you in the right direction. I would say that's a very, very important aspect of it. Make sure you engage. So if you do have a funding model that you want to work with, and you do have the likes of Enterprise Ireland or SFI working with you, feedback to them how you feel the progress is going. Talk to them on a regular basis. Question them. Ask them for confirmation, for clarity, for whatever it is that makes you feel better about how the process and progress is going. It's very, very important that you do that. There is maybe, in some aspects, some understanding that you can just say, well, I can hand all this off to somebody else. That certainly will not work. You need to be engaged, you need to be somehow invested in the whole project, and I can guarantee that is a much, much better way to utilize and to experience this whole process. If you achieve a lot of funding and you don't necessarily have a plan for it, or if you achieve a lot of funding with a collaborative partner and you don't engage, it will colour and cloud your ability to progress going forward. Not so much from the ability to get funding, but you just won't get out of it what it is you want. And somehow you become less positive about that. And as I said, explore the funding options. That's not to say you should throw through all of the options I presented earlier, but talk to somebody who has done it. Maybe groups like ourselves, there's a myriad of different people here who understand the funding. They should very quickly be able to distill down the basics of your idea into having the right to where it will fit in terms of a funding model, or even to seeing a long-term plan as to how that could work. That's very, very important. Some of the don'ts, what I call padding, filling, ranting, getting frustrated. We've read some proposals where people are so convinced by the merits of the idea, there's almost a surely you have to fund me type attitude to it. That won't work. People put flowery language around it. They add in pieces they've cut and pasted from internet searches or reports and things. They haven't really understood how that mixes with what they want to do. A genuinely written proposal, even if it's not, if it's missing a little bit, will look and will read much better than something that's sort of shoehorned in from various different places. You have this, that, and the other from different reports. You've got a quote from some guy in the States who's a very well-known CEO. All very lovely, but how does it really work for you? And I think you'll find that will come across when you look at it. Don't do it piecemeal. Don't assume that, okay, I want to write a Horizon 2020 proposal. I'm going to spend an hour this week on it and maybe a week now at the end of the month I'm going to get back to it. You will never get it done. Dedicate some time, or get in partnership with somebody or collaborate with somebody who's either willing to give you some time or you can work with, who you can run with this from start to finish. And I mean up to a 90-95% level. There's a point after which it will be natural to talk to people about feedback and about adjusting the finer elements of it. But if you think you can do this on an hourly basis every now and again, it's just not going to work out. And again, that's speaking from experience in terms of how that goes. Don't be too cautious. Look to achieve. Look to do something, I call it dramatic, but look to do something useful, sensible, with a sense of purpose towards it. If you're going through the motions of looking for funding to do things that are rote, that are naturally falling out, that's okay, but have an element of adventure in it. Back that up with hard facts and with your business plan, etc. But be adventurous in it. Be comfortable and be sure about your own ability to execute and the technology that you're looking to develop. Very, very important. I would say don't assume you can do it alone. Now, obviously I can give you examples where that isn't the case. There are companies and there are people who have done it alone, but they're very much the exception rather than the rule. And especially if you're getting into this in the first time, I would say talk to somebody at whatever level you feel comfortable. Use their help. They will be more than delighted to give it to you. Don't give up. This may take a couple of goes. You won't be alone in not achieving funding or not achieving your proposal the first time around. That's almost part of the course. But what I can guarantee you is that if you do it well, and you do it the second time and you refine, you will get much better at it, and you'll be much more able to tweak those fine-tune changes. And by the time it comes around to writing something new, you'll have learned and built from all that experience. So keep positive, stay in mind of all of that. And I harp back on this because I do really think that's important thing. If you're not clear on what it is you want to achieve, that won't come across in your pitch to whatever the funding or whoever the funding agency is. So keep that in mind. The funding is, to my mind, the second fence. The first one is always understanding what it is you want to achieve. Keep that in mind. Just very briefly to talk about what we do. We work around the area of photonics. It's not important globally really what it is. It's just the science of creating, generating, and using light. So for sensors, systems, measurements, whatever. But as I said, we work with companies where we have absolutely no interaction like that. We just help them to write funding proposals. So again, it's about experience. We've worked in a lot of different areas and spaces we've looked at, so those the food and pharma, biomedical, agriculture is coming very much to the fore now at the moment. I mentioned some of the particular funding schemes. This is one from Enterprise Ireland. This is an innovation voucher, particularly useful for small-scale companies. Gets you €5,000 worth of R&D work. This is a product we developed with a company in conjunction with a company in Clare. So any of you who play golf, normally when you're out your two longest clubs, you square yourself up the hole, you do a lot of rigmarole, and you've got to pick up these clubs, put them into your backpack, and wander again for the next tee, and it's quite laborious. Just replacing that with a set of nicely designed optics and a beam that lies on the ground. This is about the size of a hockey puck, and it fits into your pocket and is chargeable and lasts for about 2 rounds of golf. Very, very simple scheme. As I said, €5,000 worth of innovation and design. The company were very clear on what they wanted, and were very clear when they came to us. They said, this is what we need you to do, and we were like, absolutely fine, we can do that. and in partnership with them we developed, and they've gone on now to market that in the States. Some other examples, we've looked at maturity cycle of cheese for a company. We've done optical design for emergency lighting, so some of the lighting schemes you see around the place like that. A UV disinfection unit for food and beverage, stability testing for cosmetics products, and development of an on-site infection detection system. All small-scale research, but all very much coming out of the company knowing exactly what they wanted, and us adding our niche element to that. Innovation partnerships. So this is just a continuous operation unit we looked at. This was a manual process that the company wanted to have automated. So we looked at adding some optical design into that and turned it from a user-specific process down to now a much more agnostic approach to analysing product. Much lower failure rate, much more consistency across the actual range, so much more stability. We've looked at broadband LEDs, new release methods for pharma products, bacterial contamination detection units, and a challenge set for product consistency. So whatever it is, it's almost, it's not important what it is, there is a funding element or a funding scheme available for it. Some SFI engagements we've done. So this is a small, lightweight gas sensing module. So that's for remote deployment. You just leave it in situ, makes a number of different measurements from time to time, stores that in internal memory, and then the person coming along can take that, get the results out afterwards when they look at it. We've done other examples of point-of-care medical devices, beverage quality monitoring device, optical blood pressure, and an oral bacterial decontamination device as well. So again, broad range of themes, broad range of approaches, but always funding available for that. European one we've worked on, and again, these are now starting to go up in scale and size and volume. This was a water purification unit for fish tank. People will spend thousands and thousands of euro on buying fish. They're too lazy to change the water. So you give them a solution, and you work with partner companies. So we work with companies in Norway and the Czech Republic to develop this, and this is licensed technology to them. And there's, as I said, some of the other examples that we've done at the bottom. One final example, just to give you the global sort of scheme as to how this can work. So this is a company called Photonics, they're based in Leiden. It came out of a passing acquaintance that I knew who did his PhD at the same time as I did. Came to me one day and said, I have a problem I'd like you to investigate. We looked at that. We did an initial one-day consultation, which was free. We turned that into a 9K feasibility study, which was funded by Enterprise Ireland, so again, no cost to the company. That turned into an innovation partnership, €225,000, of which the company paid just 20%. We signed a technology license from that. We developed the product that's there in the bottom left-hand corner. They launched that at a very big optics and photonics workshop, industry workshop in the USA last year. And now we've gone on to do other projects with them, and they pretty much consider us to be part of their R&D arm. That's absolutely great as far as we're concerned, but now they're able to leverage an awful lot more funding in terms of knowing where to go and who to talk to about that. So again, you're back to the, don't try to do it all yourself. Go talk to somebody who's done it before, they can guide you the right way. That's us, that's where we are. Bottom line, as I said, I think cooperation is the key. Whoever you cooperate with, that's not a cooperation with me or with anybody else here. You may need to cooperate with the funding agencies, talk to them, see what they want, come back, develop your plan, get somebody to help you write it. Whatever it is you need to do, be open to that level of cooperation. That's us. Our stand is just outside next door if you want to take some flyers on funding options. As I said, there's many, many people here who would be delighted to help you navigate that minefield of how to look at more funding and how to basically apply it better. So happy for any questions or to talk with the stand if you want. Thank you.